Recording.
Okay. Good morning. Today is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. It is Tuesday, March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. We are remote due to a weather call, so we're still having the meeting, but it's just fully remote. Um, in front of you, you have today's agenda. I have one addition to this morning's agenda I'd like to make. It is a purchase of treated salt. Um, could I get a motion to add that item, right before item 7 to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And then do I have any other additions or corrections?
None here.
So if I could get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Moving on to the minutes from our special meeting held on February 25th, 2026. Do I have any additions or corrections to those?
None here.
Well, there's $1 missing. But other than that, no.
Okay.
Where is the dollar sign missing?
Hold on, I was almost sending it to this morning. Add purchase order increase,
Okay.
not to exceed 95,000. There's no $. Sorry.
Okay, I will add that. So as a minute.
Okay.
I'm just
Thank you.
channeling my inner penny ration.
I love it. Thank you. It's a village.
Okay, so if I could get a motion to approve the special meeting minutes held on February 25th, 2026 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Moving on to public comments, members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Comments submitted electronically should be sent to the following email address, bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Do I have anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing none? None, Tucker? Okay. Moving on to planting bed services with Ryan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
So
morning.
the Parks Department requests approval to enter into a contract with Greg's Garden Center and Landscaping LLC for planting bed services at the parks and public schools throughout New Canaan. We requested proposals from 3 companies with detailed specifications requiring, at a minimum, of at least 8 crew members available on site when needed. The scope of work includes preparing planting beds, edging, weeding, and spreading mulch. Of the companies contacted, Greg's Garden Center and Landscaping LLC met all required specifications and submitted the lowest estimate at $55 per hour per employee. Greg's has successfully performed similar services for the town in the past. They are familiar with the planting bed locations we maintain, consistently respond to urgent needs, and have proven to be reliable and professional in their work. To help on costs, the Parks Department will separately purchase and supply shredded bark mulch ground supplies budget. We are requesting approval to enter into a contract with Greg's Garden Center and Landscaping LLC at a rate of $55 per hour per employee, with total services not to exceed $55,000. And that's all.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So for these beds, it says it's just labor. Do we have to do any planting, or is it just cleaning them up? Because that would be an additional expense.
If there's any dead planting within the flower beds, the company would let us know prior to any planting, and then we would just give them the approval to go ahead and carry that out.
Okay. Okay. And when do you think when would this be scheduled for?
This spring, so it'd be best in May.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they do great work around town, and I think everybody's familiar with his business and the quality of the work. So I fully support it.
Yep.
My only question is I see the quote from them, but that you did go out for an RFP or an RFQ. I don't know what you would call it, but so what were the other, I mean, it is the lowest qualified, but what were the other rates that we saw? I don't see the bids.
It wasn't a formal bid, but another company that I did reach out to was $65 per hour per employee.
Okay.
So, um, and then another company never responded, so.
Okay. Okay. All right. If we could just like in the future add that information into the packet because that's helpful just to have everybody have that information.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right. So with that, any other questions?
So Ryan, did you say not to exceed 55,000?
Correct. So
Okay.
include spring and by July 1st, we would have to come back for approval again for new work.
All right. So we should probably add that
We
into.
should add that, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So not to exceed $55,000.
Correct. And I did
Okay.
not put.
Yeah. And particularly with that, Ryan, because that's over the $50,000 threshold, you definitely have to add those quotes into the agenda.
Okay.
Just from a purchasing, I mean, and you can clarify, but because of that dollar limit, we really do have to show how much, how the bids came in.
Yes.
So are we gonna add that to the
Yeah, why don't you do that, Ryan? Why don't you why don't you put something together with the other bids that you received so that that we have that documentation for audit purposes?
So Ryan will add that in, and then when we look at the minutes next time around, it'll reflect.
Yep.
I just logistically, I mean, can we do that? Can we approve it now without having that in, or do we have to wait till we have it in to approve it?
I'm looking for Tucker. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think you can go ahead, approve it contingent on the being added into the public packet and the
Perfect.
minutes soon after this meeting finishes.
Okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
Ryan, we're so ready for some spring. So this
I
is
know.
good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks Department to enter into a contract with Greg's Garden Center and Landscaping at a per employee hourly labor cost of $55, not to exceed total costs of $55,000. The work entails the planting, bed, preparation, and installation of mulch for identified properties around town.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, and then vehicles and accessories, Ryan.
Hey guys, I have to recuse here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute and stop my video, and then somebody can just text me when the vote is held.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you. I'll get you.
Thank you. Okay.
Great. So also here today requesting approval to enter into a contract with Carl Chevrolet of New Canaan for the purchase of a Chevy 3500 heavy-duty Silverado with accessories. After requesting quotes from 3 Chevrolet dealerships, 2 submitted estimates, and Carl Chevrolet was the lowest responsible bidder. The purchase will replace a 2016 truck currently within our fleet. The total trade-in value offered for the 10-year-old vehicle, including its accessories, is $10,500. After applying the trade-in and total net cost for the new vehicle and accessories is $77,078. In addition, I am requesting an additional $7,700 as a contingency to cover any unforeseen price adjustments or accessory-related cost increases. These funds are not intended to be expended, but are requested in case any minor fluctuations occur prior to final delivery. Therefore, I am requesting approval for a total amount not to exceed $84,778. These funds for this purchase are available and have been budgeted accordingly. Thank you for your consideration.
So Ryan, again, with this one, it sounds like you got other quotes, but I mean, am I missing something, Tucker? I don't see the other quotes that were received.
I thought he said he got 2. Reached
You
out
have-
to 3, but got 2.
We can get that along with the bed one.
Yeah, I just for future, anything our purchasing policy says anything 50,000 or over, you have to have multiple bids and there have to be it has to be a RFP. So otherwise we, so do we have what the other bid was?
Yes, so one company, H&L Chevrolet of Darien, they did not give me a formal trade-in value. He just gave me a range, and we brought the truck there, and he did not formally look at the truck itself. In
Okay.
addition, he did not give us a quote for a lot of the accessories and the body work, but the truck alone was $56,610.
Mm-hmm.
And then Carl Chevrolet, the truck alone was $54,963, and that included a bid allowance.
Okay. Okay. So they on the base package, it was definitely lower.
Correct.
Um,
The final company did not bid.
okay. And where was that?
That was Devon Chevrolet of Wilton, Connecticut.
Oh, they didn't bid at all.
Went there and it seemed like they were interested, but we never received anything, nor follow-up.
Okay.
Can you guys remind me, when do we buy stuff off the state? Are these all approved? I mean, I get confused when we have to like go to the state, and if the state proofed it, then we buy it from there versus, going to a number of entities here. Can you remind me how that works?
No, it all depends on what it is.
Yeah.
There's purchasing agreements. So with the truck like this, we like to go with the local dealer if we can. So that's
Yeah, no,
why
I agree with that. I'm just trying to understand what takes precedent when we do that. Yeah. So.
not necessarily any reason why we go one way or another. Sometimes the state contract or purchasing agreement pricing could be higher than you could buy on the open market. With this, there's Chevy Corporation has what's known as bid assistance, which brings the price down compared to what a person would have to pay for the truck.
Right.
Yeah. Did you go in there and work with Wally to do that? Because I've done that process. You might want to, Amy, go over there and have them run you through it, because I've actually gone through that process to understand how that bid assist works.
But my question is, do you check out what you check out both what the state throws out there as potential costs, or as well as looking to the local guys?
In this case, we didn't.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And Ryan, why do we need 10%? Like, is this a truck that's in stock and we're going to get soon? Or is it something that's ordered? But I mean, that seems like a lot of accessories when we're not talking about buying plows or anything like that.
Well, the accessories would be a plow and the body, and that's the part of the purchase price that we don't have control over, since this truck is going to take a number of months before it comes in.
And the trade-in value as well. So when we do have to trade in the truck as well, because it could be anywhere from 3 months to a year. So that value could also change. So.
Okay. But so we are gonna get a plow for this?
Absolutely.
Part of this cost? That's within the 7,000?
Yes. Along with strobes, and other accessories that are necessary within our operations.
Okay. And this is part of, it's in your budget for the current year that you're gonna get a new truck, right?
Correct. So we have $85,000 budgeted.
Okay.
In the current year, yes.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's replacing a 10-year-old vehicle, right?
Correct. 2016 would be the old truck. Yes.
Okay.
And so, Anne, again, with this purchase, is as long as we get the other bid, the non-bid plus the other bid from and the name of the other bidder, are we set with the purchasing policy?
Yes.
Okay.
I had already checked with the auditors. In terms of vehicles, it's very hard to go out for formal bids on vehicles when it goes over the 50. And that's something we're going to write into our new policy, because it is a very difficult process when it's vehicles.
Okay. All right.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, I have it all on hand and I'll send it right away after this.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Any other questions, Amy?
No.
Okay. So if there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks Department to enter into a contract with Carl Chevrolet in the amount of $77,078 plus a contingency of $7,700 for a total cost of $84,778 for the purchase of a Chevy 3500 HD Silverado with accessories. The price includes a 2016 trade-in. And yeah, that's it. There you get a motion.
So move.
And I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you.
You,
And then if we could get
He's on his way back.
okay, perfect. Is he back? Tell me when he's back. I don't see.
Back.
Okay, great. Great. If we could move on to item 6, a purchase order from Parks.
Number 6 should be nice and easy. We request approval to enter into a purchase order with Superior Equipment and Supplies. They bought Schmidt and Seraphin's, who we had an existing purchase order with, and we'd like to use the new company in this case because they are on state contract for a lot of the tools we're purchasing. One of the purchases also would be finishing out a capital purchase of blowers. This will be for an electric backpack blower. We want to try it to see if it would be usable with all new legislation that's going into place. So we're looking to enter into a purchase order with Superior Product Distributors Incorporated for $12,789.78.
So, John, this is just the remainder of the purchase order we might have already had open with Sarah, what is it, Schmidt and Seraphine?
Plus a little bit of money just for the purchase of the blower.
Okay.
There's a capital blower account.
Okay.
Here's
Any
a silly question. What type of stuff do they provide? Is it equipment? I mean, it's just a purchase order, but what do they, do they have small equipment? Small, what do you buy from them?
It's mainly small equipment, steel chainsaws, weed whackers, that type of equipment.
Great. And I'm glad you're going to try out the electric on the blower.
We are very happy with a lot of the electric equipment. The one big problem is blowers. The manufacturers have said that's the one thing that they're not doing great with at this point in time. But we want to make sure that if this is something that's usable or not. So
Great.
John, to be clear, this 12,789 that covers us for small equipment like chainsaws and blowers and whatever else you need for the year, I guess. Is that what you're talking about? Or is that just a piece of the bigger amount you spend every year?
that will cover us for the rest of the year. Correct. There's also some equipment parts in there too, but this will take care of that. We're converting the old PO over and then just a little bit for the blowers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a purchase order with Superior Products Distributors, Inc., aka Superior Equipment and Supplies, in the amount of $12,789.78.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Just to comment on that, the electric, last night, I think there was a meeting. I haven't caught up with it yet because we had a different meeting, but I'm assuming one of the things about that ordinance that was discussed was the town was going to be exempt from the battery powered for now. Is that still correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct as of last night. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I went, Steve, last night and saw.
How'd it go?
There were a lot of people. A
Good.
lot of people talked, and the subcommittee had to sit through a lot of comments. But I think
Yeah, a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Did
Well,
they
it's
vote
good
on
that people are
anything?
interested.
They
Did they
voted
vote?
to move it to the greater council. Yeah, for a vote. They didn't change the verbiage at present.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might happen, when the council meets, but they voted to at least move it forward.
I just think it's a good, the town, even though we're exempt, it is a good example to at least buy in and try it. I mean, we have to show that we're giving it a shot. I know we have a lot more property to cover than an average resident, but it is for the areas that we're able to use the smaller blowers, maybe, on sidewalks or whatever, it's at least a nice thing to try. It'll be interesting to see what the guys in the field actually have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they'll benefit from the lower noise and lower emissions that you have from electric. So you might not be able to do as much, but it's certainly probably a more pleasant experience.
Well, what was not also said in that for the exemption is that we also tweak our operations based upon where we're actually working and the residents that are around us. So while a landscaper might not necessarily, he's got to go to a certain property at a certain time and get his schedule in for the day, we tweak our processes based upon where we are and what we're doing. So we can shift our crews around to then try to accommodate. So while it might not necessarily be with an electric blower, even if it's with a regular gas powered blower, we're tweaking the process, so we're not trying to disturb the resident at a certain time. So we're a little bit more cognizant of it. The landscaper, he's got jobs to do. He's got to go play. He's got places he's got to get to and go, right? Because it's all his, on his schedule. But we can tweak our schedule, which is what we do. So.
And Tiger, correct me if I'm wrong, but the town doesn't go and use blowers to blow the grass off a cut lawn. That's what many landscapers do. They'll cut the lawn and then they blow the grass. I mean, whereas we just kind of cut it and let it mulch, right? I mean, you'll do walkways and stuff, right? But
that's John and Ryan. But yeah, we blow off the walkway, but not off the grass, per se.
So it's a more limited use of the equipment. So.
Correct.
Okay. Moving on to purchase of treated salt. This is an added item to the agenda. Tiger, why don't you?
So, well, first, thanks for adding it. So this was, we discussed this the last Board of Selectmen when we made the initial, I'll call it an emergency purchase from Chemical Equipment Labs. And at that point in time, we were told that Morton was going to have our 300 plus tons ready for us. And then we still had 500 in the queue from January 17th and another 600 in the queue from a week after that or so. After that discussion we had with the Board of Selectmen, it came back that Morton wasn't going to be able to honor that 300 ton. Didn't give us an idea on the 500 ton. And they told us that we were going to possibly receive 50 ton a day going forward, because they were going to be spreading out the salt throughout everyone that had ordered, regardless of timing. Even though we were very early on the reorder, it didn't matter anymore. So we didn't have much confidence in the fact that Morton was going to be able to adhere to that 50 ton a day, not to mention the fact that 50 ton a day doesn't help us on a storm, since we do about 70 to 80 ton on a run. So even on a one-day storm, we weren't going to be able to accommodate or have enough material on hand to accommodate the storm. So we went back to Deanna, talked to her actually while she was at the airport, or on the way to the airport. Actually called her as she was trying to get the taxi and said, "I'll call you right back," and then called us from the ride, and we were able to get an emergency appropriation or an emergency approval to buy 400 ton in essence. And we went back to Chemical Equipment Labs and said, "You need to do better on your price." So they brought their price down from 135 down to 117. And at that point in time, we said, "Okay, we'll go with this purchase of 200 or 400 tons at the 117 price, which is about $6,000 greater. So $12,000 total for the 400. It's about $6,000 total for 200 ton, based upon our bid price of 88 and change. But it was a necessary purchase, and it helped us in the last storm that we just had the other day, where we went out, treated, then had to go out and plow, then had to go back and treat again. So in a 70, 75, 80 ton day turned into 150 plus day. So that helped us in that. And the money is available in our in the DPW highway budget in the operating account. and we'll just, what we've done is we've canceled the 600, the outside 600-ton order with Morton to then offset this pricing, so that since we're getting it from Chemical Equipment Labs, we're not necessarily needing it from Morton at this point. So there's somewhat of a wash there between the two. Lou, do you have anything else to add?
No, only to add that we're supposed to get 50 tons a day. We have only probably received 4 loads of that, so we're getting about 1 load a day. Didn't get any yesterday, and didn't get any Friday. So obviously Morton was just untruthful with the 50-ton a day, and thank God we didn't have to rely on them, to be honest with you, because we'd be in a bit of trouble. So we do appreciate that.
Thank you.
So how much do you guys have like on hand now? Are you still getting some? Or you have on hand, is that the assumption that's gonna, fingers crossed, get us through the rest of the year? I mean, how much you have left? I mean, I know the weather's been less than forgiving.
Yeah, well, we have probably about 500 tons in the shed now. That's with the 400 that Equipment Labs delivered within 48 hours of ordering.
Okay.
So, they're really on their game, and they came through for us on that. Give or take, obviously today we might have to use a little bit. So, I mean, 400, we're not super comfortable. Future forecast, we feel all right. But understand that by no means are we out of winter yet. We're still, just at the very beginning of March. So,
But did you say you use 60 or 80 on a run? Is it 60 or 80 that you use per run when you go?
give or take 80's a good number. That's all the parking lots, the schools, all the roadways.
So you got 6 runs hanging out.
Yeah, which you start messing with sleet's like the worst by far. It takes so much salt to get rid of it. So
Yep. Okay.
hopefully we'll have to do that today.
Thank you guys for knocking, all the work this Northeast winter that we finally have again. So
Back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think-
daylight savings time's on Sunday, and we're heading into spring, hopefully. So hopefully we'll get there soon. It's supposed to be 60 degrees at some point. I think it was,
Everyone will be happy at that point in time. No one will complain when it's hot out.
yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah, but no, the crews across the board, parks, highway, everybody's done a nice job throughout the winter. It's been very long and tiresome for them, but they're gaming it, which is nice, and we appreciate the support. Yeah, so hopefully this will be the last that we'll come back to you for, and we'll get through March, and March will go out like a lamb, hopefully. We'll go from there.
All right. Well, again, both to the parks and highway, thank you to everyone for all the added work this season. If there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve, let's see, I don't have a motion here, so let me look at it. A motion to approve a contract be awarded to Chemical Equipment Labs for the purchase of 400 tons of salt at $117 a ton for a total cost of $46,800.
So moved.
second,
It's unanimous. Okay.
Thank you.
And then Park Street Playhouse Lot Project.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna,
I gotta make you
Sure.
you're there. Okay.
I was able to, yeah. So thanks. I think you'd already done it. So this is a picture of the layout of the Park Street and Playhouse lots. As the restriping was approved by the Parking Commission and by Planning and Zoning, we went to Planning and Zoning for an 8-24 review based upon Sarah's direction, because we were necessarily going from an 8x17 space to a 9x18 space, trying to make it closer to the regulation, or to the regulation in the downtown area. And we were going to be losing spaces associated with that. So the Parking Authority, the Parking Commission looked at this before we went to P&Z, and then after. And we were able to answer questions, but they approved this, and then P&Z approved it. So we went out to bid. We sent it, we had it publicly advertised, and then we directly solicited from 6 contractors. We received 2 bids back, and they were incredibly tight. Basically $2,000 over a $300,000 bid, which is about 0.6%, so under a percentage point between the two. So very tight. FGB came in at the low bid, $297,255. I added a 10% contingency, so rounding up to $30,000 for a total of $327,255. The funds are available on our parking lot management and improvement program accounts, and we recommend going with FGB. I spoke to both contractors at the time of bid and then yesterday about timing, because Burns Construction is still responsible for the alley and the ramp at the Playhouse. And then and there's some associated work that still remains there. And then FGB will come in after to do the work that they need to do. So the ramp will be complete, and the ramp and the surrounds around the ramp will be complete before FGB comes in to do their work. Weather helping us, Burns will be coming back in mid-March to do that. FGB will come in after that, mid-April, and hoping around mid-April, May 1, to be milling off the lot, or the lots. We'll be doing one at a time. Likely do the Playhouse lot first, so that we can relocate the cars from the Playhouse lot into the Park Street lot and down in Locust lot for town employees, and then go and tackle the Park Street lot itself while the Playhouse lot's already been done. So that's the goal at present. So we're coordinating with the 2 contractors. There is a little bit of work left on the ramp, specifically the railing. We received a sketch of the beginning of the shop drawing for the railing at the ramp yesterday, and I'm asking the contractor to give me a schedule as to when the fabrication would be done and be installed. They're thinking about 3 weeks from here, pending approval of the shop drawing. Sent the shop drawing to Maria and Paul and Scott, the fire marshal and the building official, and waiting for their comments, and then we'll get back to the contractor about their comments on the railing. Get that railing installed, manufactured and installed, and then do the surrounds from there. I don't know if you have any other questions. I got Maria's on call as well as Sarah on the call, just in case you have questions about the overall lot, the layout, and we'll go from there.
Tiger, what's the delta in the number of parking spaces as we're making them a bit bigger?
I think it was 11 we lost 11 on the Park Street lot and 5 on the Playhouse lot. Is that correct, Maria?
It's 12 on the Park Street
Right.
lot and 9 on the Playhouse lot. So there's actually a loss of 21 parking spaces, but we did gain 3 accessible parking spaces to offset that a little bit.
And just a point of clarification, this is not so much about we're putting on the Park Street lot, the spaces that are the farthest away from Elm Street, that one run, those are permit spots, not free parking spot. Is that correct? That one strip, farthest away from Elm Street?
Against that stone wall?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Not commuter, those are permit.
Right. And I just want to, because I know people are, we're all getting used to the new parking. So those spots, they are not accessible to people without permits except after 5 p.m. or something like that. Like, so when are those available to people? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Tiger, and following up on that, and Maria, following up on that loss of 21. I mean, I'm looking at the schematics here. Is there any way we can squeeze out a couple more somehow? Because 21 spaces is a lot. I mean, that's, we've all been there on a Saturday night in the summer or spring where you'd have to park on top of the roofs there to get a parking space, and taking 21 away, it's going to be tougher to find a place to park. Is there there's any way to squeeze something out of there, or we've really looked at all of that?
We
I think
definitely,
Maria's done a nice job looking at it. Not to cut you off, Maria, but she's done a nice job looking at the lot. But I'll have her, discuss it. But in my opinion, no.
I mean, the spaces are definitely nice and wide. You can tell you're going to be able to get in and out of there much easier. That lot has always been very, very tight in terms of being able to park close to cars. You really do need to widen the spaces up there. But when you do that, and you see a lot of the yellow hash there, it just there's so much space there that I don't know.
Yeah, but boy, Steve, those spaces with, that cars are now supersized. I mean,
Yeah.
those spaces just don't work with anybody who has anything that's not a car. And most people are now driving enormous vehicles.
We fight so hard to get each and every space, and we lost a little bit on we it wasn't too bad on Elm after we redesigned everything, but 20 spaces is a lot. I mean, that's a significant number. I mean, when you count up, say, one row, right? If you count one row of spaces, it's like you lost an entire row.
Could you do like a compact car section, which would, sometimes you see that like in parking lots or something. And Marie, I'm sure you've looked at all of this, but just, I mean, any cars are huge.
no, we understand. There are a few challenges. One, within our own regulations, we don't have a mechanism for compact. But the second is really the one best opportunity for that is the road that you were talking about, that is actually not open, for the public, that is that row along the stone wall. The challenge is that technically right now at an 8 by 17 dimension space, that is not a parking space. So what we're doing is we're restriping to a parking space at 9 by 18. So you'll see in some instances where in the current configuration, one car can actually take 2 parking spaces. So the ability to be able to get in and out of these parking spaces easily, and for, as you've mentioned, the size cars that most of the parking lot is used by is key. The striped area that you're referring to that's closer to the driveway down below is actually an area where we're reclaiming to be a landscaped area. There is no ability to be able to get an additional parking space in there. So the idea is that we would actually be able to take impervious area away, decompact it by deep ripping, and then using an opportunity to plant in that area. So we really did try to maximize as much as possible. I mean, you can see that those accessible spaces for that future ramp are using the common walkway to be able to get down to said stair and ramp. I mean, we're really trying to be as efficient as possible with still having a layout that works with a one-way entry down below F Park Street and the two-way entry. We're not changing anything at those entry points off of Park Street.
And it's Steve, this is going to be completely, against kind of the consideration. So, our rules in terms of trees and coverage, we're supposed to like have trees in parking lots, right? Or is this one exempt from that? Right. Now, and when I know it would take spaces, so I'm just,
right.
bringing
For new construction,
Just new.
that's currently what's in our zoning regulations. As an aside, that is actually something that's being edited. The intent for that is in order to reduce the heat island effect.
Exactly.
And so, but what that came about, probably that concept came about probably about 30 years ago. And in reality, what's happening is because you're in an interior parking lot with limited area for trees, those trees don't actually get to grow large enough to have a tree cover to have that benefit. So what has been determined and what is becoming more of an industry standard is to be able to have perimeter plantings, to be able to have larger trees that can actually have a larger tree canopy that can help with this, or long linear islands as opposed to individual parking space islands. So the industry and our own zoning regulations are moving away from the little islands that you see every 10 parking spaces. And because it's not getting the reward that the intent was.
Because in fact, you need more space for a tree to make it than what they're providing for.
Exactly.
So
8 to 9 feet is not sufficient.
Is there any tree planting going along in the perimeter here that we're going to do like these spots where you talked about landscaping? Do we have any opportunity to, put a tree in that might grow big in the future?
We definitely have an opportunity, and we can coordinate with the tree warden on that.
I think that would be great because, I mean, it's hard for us all to remember right now because it's freezing cold, but these large swatches of asphalt are brutal when it gets hot.
Agreed.
So if you guys can see if you can get some, plant them now and they'll be great in 20-year trees. We'll get what we can get, that would, I think
Exactly.
it's very pretty. I mean, almost like the library lot, which is much prettier with the trees there.
Agreed.
That was the intent. We also planted new trees on the embankment here between the two lots themselves. Okay. Exactly. So the thought is to coordinate, as Maria mentioned, with the tree warden on this expanded area of embankment. There were some small shrubs that were there prior that weren't necessarily working, but that is the goal. So we're
that would beautify it a lot, and also give coverage to people in the really tough summer months.
Right. There's a delicate balance between all of the aspects, as far as trying to reduce the amount of impervious area while maintaining the number of spaces, or trying to maintain the number of spaces that we had and make them compliant, from an 8x17 to a 9x18. These two lots were very challenging in that regard. I think Maria's done a nice job on the plan overall to accommodate all the different competing interests, with this area.
In the lack of opportunity to do a row of compact cars, that's because we don't have it set up in our parking regulations.
So you're correct that it's not in our regulations. I also anecdotally have seen way too many times large vehicles parked in compact spaces.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. But at least get some more spaces in there.
Well, at present, this one is signed for compact cars, this row, but you'll see we've had Sprinter vans parked in there. We've had contractor vans with ladders sticking out that stick out into the travelway, so that we've actually had to go up there and have them moved because they're actually impeding the travelway itself. So it sounds like a great prospect, but in reality, after 5 o'clock, when all bets are off, things change. Even before 5 o'clock during the day, we'll have problems with oversized vehicles in those spaces.
And most days when I'm trying to go home from work, there's a large pickup truck that is taking part of the travel lane.
Yeah, big white one.
Makes it a little dicey. So if you have that big white van or a truck, it shouldn't be there.
And also just to keep in mind that you would need, for example, to go down to an 8.5-foot wide space from a 9-foot wide space, you'd need 17 parking spaces to gain 1 parking space back. 17 compact spaces to gain 1 compact parking space back.
That's
So that just puts it in perspective.
Hey, so Maria and Tiger, here's one question for you. The very first entrance there, I'm coming up Park Street, I make a quick right into the driveway there. And Franco's just bought that building on the right there. Is there a way, do we own that piece is that our driveway? We own that whole thing?
Yes.
The driveway.
Yeah, is there a way, we may have to talk to Franco's, but can we figure out a way to get 3 more spaces in there? And you can make the turn in there, but it seems like there's an opportunity on the right there to have like 3 more parallel spaces there.
This area speaking right here?
Correct.
Yeah, topographically, it drops off down to this building through here, but we can certainly look at that.
I mean, even if we're able to like widen the road on the left a little bit to sort of steal, you got to be able to figure out how I'm telling you, 20 spaces, that's a lot of spaces. I mean, we've got to creatively figure out where can we put a few more cars here.
If we
Yeah.
just had one entrance, we got the one-way entrance closer to Elm Street and the two-way up, would that give us any more space, or does it just make the flow too difficult?
Maria?
If you close the one-way entrance, you can gain a couple more parking spaces. I would say probably right. I would say you would still be able to have a back out maneuver. So 2 parking spaces, it looks like you would be able to gain by removing that entrance.
Just a thought.
That can be a super congested lot.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
the idea of closing off the other the entrance, and people don't necessarily always follow the traffic arrows.
Really?
So I can envision that being a traffic nightmare, not having that other, especially at big events like, the Halloween parades, Sunday mornings, like there's just a lot going on.
Well, can I just add, remember, we're now asking the smaller box trucks, if you will, to come up behind the Park Street lot, the Playhouse lot as well. So that's just adding more congestion up there.
Yeah, Tucker, that's a good point because that's the other thing I was thinking about with those parallel spaces up there is those trucks have to be able to turn in there and get through there.
Right.
So that has to be pretty wide. And to the plan's credit, I've seen several trucks already, even with it's a construction nightmare in the back there. I've already seen several different trucks unloading right there at the intended drop point. So they've found out about it and they're in there. Like Thurston Foods is in there. I've seen lobster trucks in there.
Yeah,
So they're
they're all-
dropping
Yeah.
product already in the back there. So hopefully that's going to work.
We've
Well,
seen them
there
as
were-
well. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were deliveries before there was even the new construction. They would just take the dollies down the stairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So the other question I had is during the construction, because we made this lot free, obviously, you know, I would assume that we would just sort of cover up the meters on Elm during this time so that nobody has to pay. It's going to be tough to find a spot. So during the time where this lot's closed, I'm assuming we'll not, or just allow people to park for free, right? I mean, am I assuming that correctly?
That hasn't been a consideration yet, but we can certainly consider that option.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to close this lot, you got to allow people to go somewhere.
Well, how many days is this to do the lot?
It's it's at least a week. We have to do some expansion in this area in the western side here. That can be accomplished while the lot is open. We've got to do a little bit down here. That can be accomplished while this portion of the lot is open. And then it's actually the milling and the paving. It's about a week closure.
Is that for both for Playhouse lot and Park Street lot? It's like a week each?
No, I'd say it's a week each just to be safe.
Mhm.
It's really a day to a day and a half of milling and then 2 days of paving, 3 days of paving. But I don't want to short it all down in case there's an issue with. We've got to make sure that the grades are right, shimming the lot, things of that nature. So, and it's just these. It's reflected in the bid, but it's inefficient to pave, so it takes longer. So I'm saying about a week each, with another week to just make the expanded areas, so 3 weeks total. But like I said, that first week while we're expanding the areas, we can still have parking, and then after that, I got to close one and then close the other. So
Steve, I think that's a fair give during the construction to allow for that. It's gonna, there's going to be a lot of chaos anyway with all the paving and construction. So I don't think that's a I think that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. So the only other point up on Park Street again, Tiger, you had your cursor over that where the sort of that large tree is, the pine there. Is there a way to push out the lot anywhere closer to Park Street?
Oh, you're talking here?
Yeah.
Well, we are.
When the three of us did our clean a mile way back, a year ago, where we were actually in those trees in there, and it seemed like there's enough space to kick that back a little bit more.
That-
I don't know whether you can gain, is there any gain of a space if you push that out toward Park Street even further? I know you might have to lose that tree, but you could always replant something there.
So,
We are losing.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Maria.
Now, yeah, Steve, to clarify, the layout of this plan does remove that triangle. So we did that with the intent of being able to pick up those, I think it's 9 parking spaces. And it's in that area. It's generally a wash, actually, of added impervious area to reduced impervious area. If anything, potentially leaning towards a little bit more of a reduction. But we did try to square off this lot as best as possible in order to maximize our parking.
And there's no more to go toward the street there.
No, I mean, you see that there's that full run.
Yeah.
So you
I can
have
see.
just the edge parking spaces, and that's in order to allow for cars to make their turns and their maneuvers. That's why you have that striping area. We take
Okay.
advantage of it at the two-way entry to have an accessible parking space. So it shares, again, wherever possible. We were trying to be as efficient. And so we purposefully placed our accessible parking spaces in areas that meet the regulations, but also that it would be prudent to have an aisle space there.
Okay.
But the
And then Maria, sorry, go ahead, Tiger.
no, go ahead, finish.
I was going to ask about the stairway next. So the existing stairway down to the alley remains the same, right? Is that the staircase is exactly the same as it was? Is that correct? Or are you going to have to rebuild that?
At present, it will. Right now, it's under design to incorporate a staircase and a ramp
Okay.
for it. And that'll be done. That's why it says by others. That'll be done post construction. It won't affect the parking lot per se. But the thought is to get the lots paved and done and striped so that we can move forward and then have this upgrade done with this staircase and ramp. In the interim, we'll keep additional accessible spaces in this area and here, which was approved by the DOJ back in 2019, I believe, for use on this lot and then access to the downtown area. And then once we build this, we'll put these 2 accessible spaces in here. But that's under design at present. We just didn't want to wait for the final design on that ramp to be able to then go and repave the lot.
Yeah. So my one point though in asking that is you're creating a pretty, given the trucks and the fact that we're at parallel parking there, I want to make sure we're cognizant of a pinch point there as that ramp comes out into where that lane is right there. I mean, that looks like it could be potentially tighter than, I want to make sure that we're not too tight there for the trucks to get through there. Because if you have a big SUV in one of those parallel spaces there and that ramp juts out there, that could be tight.
So the intent is, and the concept layout was for all the rise and run, and it was conservative, as us engineers tend to be. So the intent is still to be behind the existing curb
Okay.
that is out there today. But that's why we're awaiting the survey work so the engineer can finalize the ramp design. So we can confirm that.
Thank you. And the stairway, the concept of a ramp and stairwell are we talking about a very similar layout to what we have in the LA? Is it a wider stairway and then a ramp off of it, or is it sort of the existing width of the stairs and then the ramp off of it? Do you know?
It's going to be your traditional minimum width of a staircase, and the idea is that you still have the same landing at the top and at the bottom for someone who wants to use the stairs and someone who wants to use the ramp. So you meet at the top and you meet again at the bottom.
Okay.
More questions on the layout, because I have a different question, but I was gonna wait until we had all our questions on the layout answered.
Layout. The only last question is, can we deck it?
Mhm.
We did look at that back a number of years ago. We actually did borings in the area, and because the thought was, based upon the topography, you could actually excavate the entire lot out and have subsurface parking, and then deck on top of it and be at the exact same grade that's here, or close to the exact same grade. So it is
Yeah.
possible. It's just
I remember those conversations, but it tended to be a little more expensive than just paving this.
It's a big number.
absolutely, well, all the excavation and then the
Yeah.
decking itself, absolutely a lot more expensive. Changes from like $8,000 a space to somewhere around 60 to $80,000 a space. So 10 times,
Yikes.
tenfold.
Then we couldn't keep it free, Steve.
Well, and I use this a lot as an example. Front page of the Advertiser in 1962 was this lot, and they talked about decking it. So that's how long we've been talking
Wow.
about it.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I know in '99 I was tasked with looking at it at that time when I first came here, and Mike Pastor and I looked at it at the time, and they said no. But we did borings, we did some engineering work on it, and then it was tabled by the administration at that time, which was Dick Bond.
Yeah, there was a natural walkout through, like you can actually picture walking out through the basement level of the parking right down the alley, into the alleyway. So at ground level there. But
Right down
Well,
here.
Steve, it's not a, I mean, reconstructed parking lots, last 15 years or whatever, and it may take that much time to kind of, because right now, all the indications are we definitely have enough parking in town. It's just not where everybody wants it. It's not like we are short parking spaces. It's just they're short where people don't want to walk or whatever. So, but it is something to keep in mind that if down the road, if we find that we don't have enough parking, then it would be something to reconsider.
yeah,
But
it's always there. It's just
yeah,
swallowing the cost of, what it would
yeah,
take to do that. And
yeah,
I mean, we're worried about taking this lot out for,
yeah,
what amounts to a few weeks. Imagine taking it out for like a
yeah,
year. So,
yeah, yeah,
That's a complicated discussion. It's sometimes you got to think how many cars would our downtown handle? I mean, because it's not just cars, they drive to get in there, so I think
yeah.
you
that's a
got
fair
to
point.
and people don't like to go in covered parking if they can avoid it.
Yeah.
So that's a big number. It's a big number. Steve, I just want you to start selling cars, not trucks, and then we can fit more people in here.
We're gonna have to start selling bikes, I think. Try and get in there.
Yeah. I mean, that what's really happening here is cars are that's what's pushing us to have bigger spaces. The vehicles keep getting bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've gotten a lot of complaints about the width of it. I mean,
All right.
Morse Court we widened, and I don't hear those complaints anymore.
Yeah.
And this was the other lot that the spaces are too narrow, and I mean, I don't like to park in that middle section. It's too tight.
It is tight, and I don't have a huge car, and it's tight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, I have a different question if we're done with the layout. So Tiger, I see we only have 2 bids. I see you went out to 6 contractors. What's going on? I mean, this is the very beginning of the spring. It's not even like, the end of the season. This should be where everybody's wanting to go out and get,
You're correct. I went to the ones that have bid in the past. So I expected Grasso and I expected Waters. Waters
Yep.
actually reached out about this several times with questions. And so I expected to have, and Grasso did as well. I expected to have multiple. I don't know. I felt that we were at the right time, meaning that we were early. We didn't overly restrict it as far as time or coordination at all. We left it open for the contractor. So I don't know. Like I said,
it would be helpful to maybe, I mean, for this, it's, we're done, but I'd like to understand why they're not bidding.
I'll certainly call them and ask
Yeah,
why.
I would like the follow-up. I
Yeah.
think it's important because, yeah, I think we need more suppliers to keep everybody, pencils sharp.
This one here, they're tight, but I agree with you. They're really tight. And my number was 302. So my estimate was 302,500. So, and I like to be second. I was actually third in this.
Is your number
So-
before contingency?
That's a number. My number 3025 was before contingency. That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
So and then I added a $30,000 contingency at that point for 10%. So I got to 330. Was my number. But yeah, I want to call Waters because he did reach out several times, and Grasso himself, and I'll find out exactly what why, and then go from there. Because it would be nice to get multiple. I was surprised at the time that they came in that there were only two gentlemen in the room and not more.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just this doesn't include the we'll see a bill for safety markings or like striping the lot too, or is that
Right.
included in there?
Striping a lot is included. It was
Okay.
about I think it was one bidder had it at 15,000, the other bidder had it at 14,900. They both went to safety markings. So one was, like I said, 14,900, one was 1,500 because they had a little markup or rounding. But so it's included.
So this is basically all in that factor, right? I mean, there shouldn't be any other than the ramp, right?
Other than the ramp, it's an all-inclusive, as you see. So the expansion or the modified, expansion in areas, the paving, some curbing, and then the striping. Yes, so it's
But no landscaping, right?
no landscaping. That we usually keep that out because we'll work with the tree warden on that in areas.
But we have money for it somewhere, right?
We have tree money. Yes, we have money in a separate account for tree planting that we can use. But we like to build it and then landscape after to instead of having the landscape plan with it at the time. I like to look at it and see where the areas of concern are, and then have the tree warden opine on that, and then go from there.
Yeah, but is the tree warden enough for planting and landscaping? That's just trees, right? Versus, we just, Parks Department just had, people coming in to like do beds and stuff like that. I mean, so,
Right.
or do we work with some of the groups in town, like Beautification League and stuff with that?
Yes, we go back out and consult with the Beautification League specifically since it's the downtown area.
Okay.
On the planting, and then the tree warden himself. And if we needed to, we would hire a landscape architect at that time. The areas that are hashed, there are monies in the contract for topsoil and seeding, and then to be turned into grass, and then we'll look to plant shrubs and trees accordingly.
Okay.
So that I mean, I would just say, that, well, I guess the Playhouse lot, I'm thinking about the that little island that's right next to in the Playhouse lot, up from the annex, see how there's a little number 4 up there, and then there's that little island that connects the Playhouse to the town hall parking lot.
Yep.
Nothing lives there. Just
Nothing
so you
lives
know.
there.
Nothing
I know
lives
that.
there. There's stuff that's been planted and it all dies. So,
Right.
I mean, I think we have to be careful. It's, there's a lot of, stuff that gets moved around in the winter, in these New England winters that, and then it's hot in the summer. It's not a lot of area. So,
Okay.
No, I try to walk on the curbing as I get to my car, so I don't step on the soil and compact it. But to your point, the nothing grows there. You're correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as we might like a lot of plantings.
No, that's fair. Without irrigation, it's a problem.
Yep. It's a tough area. So
it's the right tree in the right place. That's not the right place. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions? If not, go ahead. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with FGB Construction in the amount of $297,000 $255 plus a contingency of $30,000 for a total cost of $327,255. The project entails the milling, reclaiming, and repaving, etc., of the Park Street and Playhouse parking lots.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And just to reiterate, we're talking like a May 1st start.
Correct.
Okay, just people will be interested in that. So,
Right. Yep.
Okay.
No, thank you.
All right, moving on to 106 Old Stamford and Farm Road.
Okay.
Maria, you want to take this one?
Yep, sounds good. So as part of the town's intersection improvement plan, the Department of Public Works is respectfully requesting to enter into a contract with Fuss & O'Neill for professional engineering design services to prepare a full CTDOT Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program, LOTSIP, application to improve the intersection of Old Stamford Road at Route 106 and Farm Road. The Department of Public Works recently retained Fuss & O'Neill for the development of the Western Council of Governments, WestCOG, project proposal summary outline using the CTDOT LOTSIP solicitation requirements for the intersection. As a reminder from when we last met in August, the project entails the redesign of the intersection at Old Stamford Road and Farm Road and associated traffic signals to accommodate additional turning lanes at the intersection in order to help alleviate commuter traffic and associated school traffic. For years, as we know, the intersection has been plagued with its challenges. The LOTSIP solicitation package to the WestCOG Technical Advisory Group, TAG, was successfully and unanimously endorsed by the TAG and subsequently approved at the recent WestCOG February 19th meeting. WestCOG allocated the requested $1,420,000 in LOTSIP funds for the project construction costs. And again, engineering and design fees are the responsibility of the municipality. In order to advance the project, the full CTDOT LOTSIP program application needs to be prepared and submitted by April 21st, 2026. Fuss & O'Neill has prepared a proposal to further develop the application and complete the intersection control evaluation. Fuss & O'Neill also expects one round of comments from us and up to 2 meetings. The anticipation of this next round is to obtain a commitment to fund letter from Connecticut DOT. At that point, we will request a proposal from Fuss & O'Neill to prepare the remainder of the construction documentation to submit to CTDOT for construction. Fuss & O'Neill will perform the formal LOTSIP application work for a lump sum of $13,000 plus $1,500 anticipated for meetings for a total of $14,500. In order to meet our April 21st deadline, we respectfully request and recommend that the contract be awarded to Fuss & O'Neill for $14,500 for the preparation of the formal LOTSIP application submission. And just as an aside, we're joined this morning by Gina Muzinski from Fuss & O'Neill should you have any additional questions. Funds are currently available in our DPW capital accounts. Thanks.
Maria, I have a quick question. So
Sure.
We have this for the submission. We'll have to have them prepare the submission to get the LOTSIP funding. You mentioned an additional submission later.
So this is the actual formal application. So what happens is that the first round that we submitted in order for the solicitation to be endorsed is the first step in the overall project. So engineering work has already commenced at that point, and it's done with the timings of the intersection, the recommended layout, etc. So now what we need to do is we need to take that application and we need to meet all of the LOTSIP requirements for the formal application. And they have 2 to 3 pages of additional information, including the intersection evaluation. At that point, we take the engineering, or Fuss & O'Neill takes the engineering even further. And then ultimately, we anticipate, because we haven't seen an issue where they have never given the commitment to fund after having gotten to this point. So we anticipate getting a commitment to fund letter from DOT. Then we need to take that application and make it into a contract document set. So the plans need to be further vetted with construction details, and the specifications need to be outlined. So ultimately, all three phases are what would be done overall in one project, but because of the lot SIP requirements, it's really being broken up into three parts.
So does this, I guess my question is, does this 14.5 encompass all three phases, or will we see
No.
another? So how much do you think the contract documents is going to cost us?
So Tiger, I will give that to you because we did, prior to actually going forward for lot SIP, we evaluated what this would take for the town to actually take this project on. And so we got some initial numbers that Tiger can explain a little bit more on.
We anticipated about 10%
Yeah.
of the cost overall. So at a $1.4 million project, we were at $1.5 million project, we were at 150,000, and we had that money available in our accounts. So, but as Maria mentioned, it's kind of a three-step process. You go through this first phase to Westcog, second phase to DOT, and then the third phase overall for construction. But each one builds on itself so that it's not lost money, so to
So-
speak.
Tiger, with the stages we're doing with Fuss and O'Neill, how much do we have to be out of pocket before we get the commitment to fund? Because of that $140,000, right? How much are we exposed to? And then once we get the commitment to fund, Maria, if I heard you right,
Mhm.
they've never not funded, right? Is that correct?
Tiger and I were talking yesterday, and we haven't seen an example. I mean, never say never, right?
Sure.
But we haven't seen an example, so that's why we are cautiously optimistic.
Right, but my question is to get to the point where we get the commitment to fund, how much are we out of pocket?
So
And the final engineering comes afterwards, right?
right.
After-
So
yeah.
so the first phase was a contract of 20,500,
Okay.
and then plus this phase of 14,500, we would be at $35,000 for a commitment to fund letter from the state.
Okay, and then once we get that, we're in charge of the rest of the
We're in charge of
Awesome.
the final design, right, exactly, services, and then the state would be covering, as part of the lot SIP program, would be covering the construction costs.
What if the construction costs are more?
So
That's
we've
on
seen
us?
that in the past. Nope, we've seen that in the past. And there are accelerators that are in our cost estimate that Fuss and O'Neill prepared, anticipating that this is quite sometimes a long process. But we've voted before in our tag meetings when there has been a project that has been delayed for whatever reasons, or the industry has had increases in certain aspects of construction, that the final bids have come in higher, and the tag has been presented, and we have always, there hasn't been an instance, Tiger, I can't recall, that we have ever voted not to endorse the tag allocating those funds. And then it would then go again to Westcog.
Right.
And again, we would anticipate that Westcog would also support that, as community. We've tried to lift each other up and not deny anyone this. So then the construction
Amy,
costs would still be 100%.
Okay.
Amy, those comes to the all the first selectmen that come to Westcog. So I've had to vote on a number of projects that have had to be increased
Okay.
over the last few years. So
Yeah. So
And the-
from the
yeah.
town's perspective, to improve this intersection, we are at most out of pocket 35,000 before we get the complete sign off on redoing the intersection. If we get to that point, then we do spend the additional money for the design, but we are, you never say never, but
Right.
we're covered in terms of actually redoing it, right?
Right.
Like
Correct.
we and who actually does the work? Is it us or does the state? Like-
No, we would contract out.
You
So we
handle
would
it.
get that. We would get the funding. So Fuss and O'Neill assuming we get the commitment to fund letter, then we would go through the design services after that, and then send it back to the DOT. It is their intersection, so they would have to approve the construction of it, and then we would put it out to bid. So it would be our construction, our documents with their approval. And just so you know, the TAG is the Technical Advisory Group from Westcog. So Maria and I sit on that with all the other towns, and then we provide technical assistance to the COG, which is what Deanna sits on, all the first selectmen, the Council of Governments, Westcog Council of Governments. So if we approve a project and then we recommend it to go to the COG for endorsement and they approve it, and then to Maria's point, if there was a point where, and we've seen it multiple times where a project has come in over budget, and the TAG has unanimously always approved those expenditures, because we know how construction can roll, and then it goes to the COG for endorsement. And usually Westcog leaves some money available in the overall allotment for that situation. So, and we haven't seen a situation where it wasn't approved.
Yeah. And this includes the traffic signals and everything, right? You know.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just from a resident standpoint, the objective here is to move traffic through there more efficiently and lessen the bottlenecks, if you will, that are created over there, right? I mean, that's really the goal.
That, and to create a safer pedestrian environment in order to cross that intersection. Correct.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Fuss & O'Neill in the amount of $14,500 in order to prepare and submit a CTDOT lot SIP program application for the intersection of Route 106 and Old Stamford Road and Farm Road.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks, Jane.
And then next is blanket purchase order.
So this next is an approval of an increase to a blanket purchase order for East Coast Sign and Supply, specifically for road sweeper parts and plow blades, more specifically tire chains and plow blades themselves. We had a purchase order originally of $10,000. We're asking for an additional amount of $10,000 to bring it the revised total for the year to $20,000. Last year we spent 11, a little bit of a different winter overall. And so in speaking of Lou and Danny, we're in need of a couple of sets of carbide blades. Lou can speak more, but from what I understand, China owns 90% of the carbide or the tungsten that goes into the blades, and the prices are increasing dramatically. Lou, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
For the fact that the tungsten and the carbide, obviously the tariffs are starting to affect, but they're going up. As of Friday last week, they were $1,650 per set. As of Sunday, March 1st, they went up to $2,200 a set, and that is only that number is only good for 30 days. So whether April 1st they go to $2,500. It was recommended to us that we try to stock up our inventory for carbide blades. We went through them. We feel that we only need certain pieces because they're like generic carbide 3-piece blades. We only need some 3-foot sections to give us enough to repair the plows that we need in the springtime. And there's also a couple months delay on delivery. So typically what we like to do is springtime comes, take the plows, bring them into the welding shop, go over them, whatever they need, fix them so they don't sit there all summer until fall into their leaf season. Now we have broken plows. So we feel that if we could get the material in, and it allows us to be on our schedule for plow repair and all that for spring.
Lou, are these the cutting edges you're talking about on the plows, or are they more than that?
No, they're the cutting edges, yep. So we use carbide. If we use steel, we probably go through one a storm on plow. We're typically, we could probably see, it's kind of hard to gauge with the winters we've had. Like, for example, Monday, we plowed town 3 times in one day. So the carbide, we'll get well over a year per set on a carbide, where steel we'd be burning up rather quickly, much quicker, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I want to avoid those manhole covers.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Makes sense.
All right. Any other questions? If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to increase a previously approved FY26 purchase order with East Coast Sign and Supply by $10,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right. And
Thank
then
you.
tree warden.
So the last item is the tree bid. The tree warden went out for February 25th for another bid. 11 different locations. We received 5 bids. 2 were very tight. Olmsted won the bid at $14,335. Darien Tree was $265 higher than that at $14,600. It's about a 1% or so, 1.7% difference in pricing. As I mentioned, it's 11 different locations. None particularly, they're all along our roadways, none in our parks. The only thing of note is on Valley Road, we've got about 5 trees that'll be removed. All of them are dead or decaying. And some of the stumps will be ground in that. But the money's available in our tree service account, and we'd like to go forward with the contract with Olmsted Tree and Shrub Care.
Any questions?
I'm just always amazed by the spread on these bids.
You got a $20,000 spread here. It's amazing. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, Mill River still struggling with the superintendent and some oversight. But we look at if you bring it down to the competitive numbers, the 2 numbers at the bottom, the Olmsted and Darien, that's a very tight bid at that point.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the tree warden to enter into a contract with Olmsted Tree and Shrub Care in the amount of $14,335. The project entails the emergency removal, pruning, and stump removal of various trees in town.
So moved.
Second.
It's
Thank you.
unanimous.
Thank you.
And then selectmen's comments, I see the snow starting. So as of right now, the Board of Finance is still a go this evening in person in Town Hall. So, barring any major change in events, that's what's planned for the public hearing. So people should know that the public hearing is on for this evening.
Yeah, it's hybrid though, so in person or remote.
Right, but all meetings are hybrid that way. Anyway, is there any other announcements that?
Just a comment. I did read your response on New Canaan Night this morning about the parking and sort of a global view of what's gone on. And I thought it was a good response to kind of where we are now. I mean, I feel like we're almost to the halfway point, and we just discussed a huge job up at the Park Street lot and the Playhouse lot. So, I think the key, the whole message that you put out there was patience, and that's really what it comes down to. It's everybody's got to be patient as we get this up and running, and then we'll assess it and evaluate it as we, as the entire plan comes to fruition. So,
Right.
I don't think the answers were spot on. So, thank you for that.
Okay. Anything else? If not, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right. Stay safe, everybody.
Bye, guys.